Anyways, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for episode 6. It's been about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
I think it feels like it's been longer.
No, it's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since we did our last podcast. I definitely miss you guys. You know?
We meant to do one while we were in Florida, and then we didn't.
Yep.
And then we didn't do one last weekend.
We were like in Florida. We're like, we're gonna do a podcast. Like, we're gonna do one. And then we like didn't have time. So we were just like,
that's not true.
No, we had time. Yeah. I guess like the time that we like sat there and did nothing
all day.
We'll talk about that after though. But we went to Florida. When did we go for Florida? When did we leave for Florida?
The 30th of November.
It's the 15th of December.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks.
We didn't go for 2 weeks. I'm just like, been a long time since we. Anyways, yeah. So we planned to do a podcast then, but we didn't. So I was like, okay, when we come back, we'll make it up by doing back-to-back podcasts. So we're doing an episode right now, and then right after we're doing another episode. So this one's gonna be focused on Disney/Florida.
Just the trip in general.
Right, just the trip. So we went to Florida for 4 nights and 5 days, and we went to Orlando, Florida, right? And we stayed at the Hilton Buena Vista Palace.
Buena Vista.
Buena Vista. Sorry.
Buena Vista.
Sorry.
The Buena Vista.
Anyway, so we went there, and it was on like Disney Springs, which is really cool because we'll talk about that after.
Why do we have to talk about it after?
Oh,
Just
no.
Go
Sure.
with it.
Okay. Rachel, before the podcast, I'm like, I gotta write down topics. Rachel's like, that's not how I want to do podcasts.
Just have a conversation.
It's just about having fun.
Just talk about it.
Just
you don't
talk
have to be
about
so
it.
Scripted.
It was on Disney Plus, or
Start over.
it was on Disney Springs.
Which was really cool because what were you gonna say? You don't have to talk.
There's
about
so
it
many
later.
different things on there. So Universal Studios Universal Walk, or
City Walk.
City Walk. So Universal and Disney both have their own like 2 separate things. So Disney
By
Springs,
2 separate things, he means they have their own
they
shopping centers.
they have their own shopping centers. Yeah, I feel like Disney Springs is way bigger. Like
Yes.
Disney Springs is massive compared to Universal Walk. Like
yeah, it is.
the City Walk for Universal is pretty small. Like we walked there maybe like
But
5-10
I would
minutes.
say that the difference is Universal City Walk is in a big area.
Right.
And it's not so crowded together. Like, it's really wide streets.
Yeah.
You know? And it's, like, on two sides of that river.
Yeah.
So it's, like, really spread out.
Right.
Whereas this was, like, I don't know, maybe it was over the same surface area, but it had, like, a lot more in it.
It did, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so we had, like, there's always, like, places to eat and, like, go to. It's really, really cool. When we originally got there, so first of all, we flew out of Detroit, and me and Rachel hate flying. Oh my God, flying is, like, so annoying.
I actually was, like, very, very anxious. I slept really good. That's the best I've ever slept before a plane ride. Because usually before a flight, like, the last time we flew, which was when we went to see my sister.
Yeah.
And that was on, like, it was, like, an hour-long flight. It was not even going to be a long flight.
No.
But it was on, like, a little tiny plane.
Right.
I think I slept 2 hours, and I was, like, up all night, like, having a panic attack. It was awful.
Yeah.
This time I took, like, one Gravol, and I went to sleep at, like, 10 and slept until 4.
Yeah.
So 6 hours or something, which is the most I've ever slept before a plane. So, but I was very, very anxious at the airport, and then was kind of freaking out, and I never eat before flights because I'm too anxious.
Yeah.
But the actual plane ride, I thought was, like, for me, I know it wasn't for you, but for me, like, I was pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
Like, it was smooth, and we had really good seats.
We did, yeah. We did this thing where we, like, upgrade from, like, normal thing to, like, economy plus, and it gave you, like, a lot of leg room and stuff. It was pretty worth it.
Yeah, the only downside was that we were at the emergency exit, and you didn't have your own window.
No.
But we had these cool little TVs that, like, pulled up from your seat.
Yeah.
And they were, like, right in front of you. And they gave us blankets, and we had extra snacks, like fruit and stuff that other people didn't have.
I think you could get free alcohol, too, but I never got anything.
Well, it was
like
7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so I don't think I need anything. But for me, like leading up to the plane ride, I was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as I got on the plane, that's when I was like, oh my God, this is like torture.
We took turns.
Yeah. So basically the entire trip she was anxious, and then I was anxious, and then she was anxious, and then I was anxious. And it was bad. But I mean, it was like, you gotta get, obviously it was still fun regardless. But anxiety though, oh my God. Up the ass. It's crazy.
But the plane ride there was really smooth. We watched a movie. You were anxious, but like
I was, yeah.
I thought it was a really good flight.
It was,
But
yeah.
then when we were landing,
Oh my
we
God.
were like, they were like, oh, you know, we're beginning our descent. Please put your tray tables away, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really have a window.
No.
So you can't really see. And I'm kind of like, we were in those seats where there's one seat, second seat, and then there's a empty space next to me, and then where the door is. And, but behind me, there was like a man, and his window was kind of back here. So once in a while, I would like look back and try and see what was happening outside his window. And so you can feel that we're going down. And the flight attendants like sit down and they buckle themselves in. They were like over, like we could see their faces.
We could see their faces, yeah.
And out of nowhere, the plane, which is going down like this, all of a sudden does like a 90-degree.
Yeah.
And goes.
Yeah, we're just like.
Like faster than you even take off.
Oh yeah.
Like you were like in your seat, and it was like.
Yeah,
and the flight attendants like grab their seats.
Yeah, they're just like, and then like we're like, what happened? They're like, we don't know.
Yeah, we're like, what was that? They're like, we're not sure. Like smiling.
Yeah, I was like,
are we going to die?
Yeah,
like,
and so
that freaked me out.
So then we just basically too many people were coming down and landing at the same time.
They were like, oh, sorry about that, guys. Air traffic control let us know that we were in the flight path of another plane or something. So basically, like.
Multiple planes
would have crashed if he hadn't. Like,
it probably happens more often than none.
But we had to like go back up and then like turn like 4 times to get back around and then come down. But it was not fun.
I was like, well. But then we landed, and we did this thing which is called, it's like basically like a shuttle. We got the service. No,
it's called a chauffeur.
Sorry, chauffeur. It's called a shuttle.
A shuttle is like a bus.
Okay. Anyways, as a chauffeur, Rachel found it online. We did it before when we were at Universal. It was really, really cool. Yeah. And so he picks us up and drops us off at the airport after, as well too.
Drops us off at the resort.
No, I'm just like there and back to the airport. Yeah. And so it was really cool because you basically paid kind of similar to what it'd be for like an Uber to kind of get you from there to there.
Yeah. So when last time we went to Florida, we didn't plan. So we had read online that you could get a shuttle from the airport to a resort.
Yeah. And
we were like, oh, great. So we just go to where the shuttle thing was at the airport. And they were like, no, you have to book it 24 hours in advance.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, well, we didn't know that. So we had to end up taking a taxi, I think.
We did, yeah.
And it was like $50 or something to get to where we were going.
Yeah.
And this time we were going to a similar distance. And we paid for this chauffeur, and it was $60. So $10 more.
Yeah.
And it was no hassle. We came down the escalator. He was waiting there with a sign with our names on it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was like a really nice black SUV. He put our bags away. Like, he let us stop at the grocery store.
Yeah. Like, the beauty about it, he was like, do you guys want to stop at the grocery store for a little bit? I'll wait for you here. And I was like, yeah hell yeah.
So we got...
Like, you know, like, no taxi driver's going to do that.
No, they're going to charge you for every second that you're waiting there.
And I mean, the beauty is, you know, it was a nice ride and wasn't even like, you know.
He was, like, dressed in, like, a nice suit. And, we got because we were able to. It's so expensive to buy like a bottle of water anywhere, you know. So we went to the grocery store and we got like a pack of Gatorade and we got some snacks so that when it's, you know, midnight and we want a snack in our hotel room, we don't have to leave and go.
The one thing that's crazy between here and the United States that I was saying is that we got like a bunch of snacks and I got like this prosciutto, which is like a cured meat, and I paid like $1.58 or something, like $1.87 for like 5 slices, and in Canada it would be like $10.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. So I was like, whoa. So I was like freaking out about that. It was like we went to Publix.
I think so.
Yeah,
we don't have that here.
No, we don't have that here. Not that it would like be any cheaper. I don't know if it's like an expensive grocery store or not, but so yeah, we did that. Then we got to the hotel. And when we got there, we had to like check in and all that stuff, and we went to like the 3rd floor. That's where our room was. And we went to our room. It was a really cool room. And then that's kind of like it's kind of like day 1.
No, then we went to Disney Springs.
Oh yeah, we walked around Disney Springs for a little bit.
Because it was early. We got there.
Oh yeah, that's true. It was. Yeah.
We got there at like 11 or 11:30 or something, and then we were hungry, and we went. And while we were driving to the resort, we had been talking about Chick-fil-A with our driver, because Travis was talking about how excited he was, asking if there was a Chick-fil-A anywhere nearby that we could walk to.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, nah, not really. So we had been talking about chicken sandwiches, and I was like, I hadn't eaten yet because, like I said, I don't eat before flights. And as soon as I landed, I wasn't anxious anymore, so I was like, I'm starving.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want a chicken sandwich. I just want a chicken sandwich.
Well, she was like, I want a chicken sandwich. So we walked around Disney Springs. And first of all, when you walk around Disney Springs,
it's the most confusing layout.
They give you this map, and it goes from like, it's like, oh, do you want to go to like place 1 on the map, okay, that's all the way at the end. But place 105 is right in front of the entrance. And I'm like, what the?
And also, it's not like a grid. It's like...
Yeah, because there's...
everything crisscrosses.
Because there's like bridges to get to like certain parts, and then there's another bridge to get to another part. I'm like, what is happening?
It's so confusing. And the map doesn't tell you like, you are here.
No.
Or like what direction you're facing or anything.
No.
So you're just like guessing.
So I was like, there's this place called Chicken Guys. I'm like, it looks good. And like, I can probably assume that's like a fast food place. And we looked all over, and like, sure enough, we ended up finding it after like
an hour.
After like an hour,
I was like, Travis, I'm going.
You're like, I'm so hungry.
I'm going to lose my mind. I just find this place, and he had the map, and I was like, give me the map. He's like, no, we're going in the right direction.
Like 4 times.
Like 4 times.
And then I'm like, no, we're going the right way. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
And I was getting so hangry. I was like, I'm going to just walk in somewhere.
Then we get there, and this place is like packed.
Well, it was lunchtime.
Like, yeah, it was lunchtime, but like this place is like packed because everything else in like Disney Springs is kind of like expensive to eat at. It's like $20 to like
I think there was like there was like a pizza place, and there was like a few food trucks, but most of them are sit down restaurants.
Right. So this is like the first spot that you can get like for like $6 you can get like a sandwich. And we're like, ooh. So first you get in there, and like there's so many sauce choices. Oh my god. Yeah. There was like a wall of just sauces you could just choose from.
20 sauces.
Yeah, and I was like, and like I love sauces. Like sauces are like my dream. So I was like, yeah. So then we got that, and then we like ate down and ate it. It was super good.
We ate down and ate it.
We sat down and ate it.
And you dropped your bun on the ground.
Yes, I dropped my bun on the ground. I was very sad. I was like, do you think I could pick it up?
But we got the combos, and not necessary because just the sandwich alone was enough. Chicken sandwich.
So what they do is they take the chicken strips, and you can either get them on the side or you can get them on a bun. So it's basically like Chick-fil-A kind of style. But there's a lot more stuff on it. Like Chick-fil-A, it's usually like the thing, like the lettuce and then like the bun, but whereas like here was like packed with like a bunch of stuff, and it was really good.
Also, the chicken strips are like, you can tell it's just they've made them
themselves.
Just made, it's super fresh chicken, and
I think
they're really big.
I looked after, and it looks like it just opened in like August. So I was like, oh, I wonder why it's like there's not more like in the United States, but it was super good. Anyway, so yeah, we went there, and then we looked around more Disney Springs, and that's when I realized I was like, I feel like my parents brought me to Disney World and like just showed me Disney Springs, and then when I was like young enough, I was probably like, oh my god, because I'm like, there was like there's a giant Lego dinosaur in the water, and I was like, I remember seeing that and going like, oh my god, we're at Disney World, but we were not at Disney World at all.
Yeah. So I think all we did was we ate Chicken Guy, and then we went back to the hotel and we went swimming. Yeah. Because we wanted to go swimming while there was only going to be the first few days where it was going to be warm.
2 days were like really warm, like 85, and then the last 3 days were like 60s.
So we were like, let's go back. We did a little swimming. It was a Saturday, so they had like club music playing. Yeah. It's like 2 p.m. and there's families everywhere.
And there's like little kids running around. It's like, you want that ass?
It's like, get down.
Yeah.
Like,
shake that ass. Yeah. I was like, what is happening?
Blaring.
Yeah. And like the DJ was just like.
That's the only day they had like music like that.
The rest of the days it was too cold. Like nobody was really swimming unless they're like
there the pools were heated. But yeah. The pool was heated, yeah.
The pool
is nice.
The one thing I'll say about like the Hilton resort, I guess, it was nice, but it nowhere compares to like the Universal Lowe's. Like we went to Universal Studios before, and we stayed at a brand new Sapphire Lowe's or something like that. Oh my god, it was so nice. Mm-hmm. I think it's just like,
I think this pool was nicer because it was bigger. They had a lot more. Because remember Sapphire Lowe's, it was just like just the square pool. That was it. Yeah. This had like a lazy river, and it had like a kids section and like an adult section, and like it had a lot more.
I don't know if I would ever want to go to like adults only resort like at Universal or Disney, but I think maybe next time it might be something. I don't know.
I want you to repeat that sentence back to yourself. I don't know if I would ever want to go to one, but I think next time.
What? No, like not to kids only. I mean, to adults only.
I don't know if I would ever want to go to an adults only, but I think next time I would. That doesn't make any sense.
Anyways, so I meant to say I want to go to adults only because the kids like running around were fine, but like you're always like, oh, there's so many kids everywhere.
It doesn't really bother me.
It doesn't bother me on it either, but like I just think it'd be like different, more quiet. But
sure.
Anyways, so the one thing that they had at this place was the one thing they had at the place when we walked in the first time, I walked in, I'm like, it's so freaking warm in here.
In where?
In the room, in the hotel room.
Oh.
And I was like, it's so warm in here. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to turn the air down, right? And like normally you go into a hotel and you can turn the air conditioning down. And I go to turn it down and it's stuck at 69. I'm like, that's the temperature we have it in the house to keep us warm in the winter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I called down the front desk and they're like, unfortunately, we don't actually like allow people to turn it any lower than that. I'm like, what? And I'm like, no, like you have to. So they're like, we'll have to send like a service tech up there, like take care of it. I'm like, okay. So they do that and they come and they're like program it. It says like after 2 days we have to reset it and do it again. I'm like, So that was kind of like my first like uh-oh. And then I paid for like the fireworks upgrade view, and which was like you can see the fireworks from like Disney World, like from where it is. And
from Epcot, I think.
Yeah, from Epcot. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, that sounds good. But then we got there, but then the view was of like the parking lot. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I don't really like this at all. So we didn't. The first night we were just like, whatever, who cares? It's not a big deal.
We didn't stay there the first night. What we did was we went back to Disney Springs. We walked around a whole bunch.
Right.
And we looked at stores. We went to the Coca-Cola store. We
did not say that.
We had street tacos.
Yes,
those were pretty good.
Yeah, we had this like they had a bunch of like trucks set up, and it was like one street taco. And the lady was like, I was like, do you have any sauce or anything on these? She's like, you don't need sauce. And sure enough,
like,
we did
just
not
eat it the way you.
We did not need sauce at all.
They're very good.
They're super good.
And then we were pretty tired because like we'd been up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So we went back, and that's when we were like, let's ask about.
Actually, on the way back, I said, what I want you to do, Rachel, is I said, I want you to go to the front desk, and I want you to tell her that it's like our honeymoon and all that stuff, which technically. If you think about it, it's not. But I was like, I want you to tell her that and like about the room and stuff. She's like, and Rachel's like, no, like that makes.
I don't like doing that stuff. Like I have no problem like calling the doctor's office or ordering pizza.
Oh,
that's mine.
I just enlisted.
Or anything like that. But I don't like if I'm staying somewhere and it's like, yes, this is what I was here for and I knew what this was going into it. I'm not going to be like, I want better. Like I know that that's fine to do.
Yeah. But
it makes me uncomfortable to do it. So like I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I forget. Did I ask the other girl first at all? I forget if I asked a different girl first. I don't
think you did.
What did I ask her? I asked her something. I forget what it was. Anyways, and so, oh yeah, that's right. When we first checked in, I said, oh, do we get anything for like free breakfast or anything like that, because I know that you said on their website it said free breakfast every day.
If you book through their
website. And I said, well, we already got this saying like, do you do anything for that? She's like, no. I'm like, do you guys do any upgrades for honeymoons? And the girl was like, nope, sorry, we do not. She was like a robot. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So then that was when we checked in at like 12. Then when we came back at nighttime, I was like, well, let's just ask her anyways. And we talked to a total different girl, and she was like, oh, like, what's wrong with the room? I'm like, well, we paid for the fireworks view, and it was the view of the parking lot. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's a really crappy view. Like, honestly, I'm like, yeah. And like in their pictures online, it was like this beautiful view. I'm like, oh my God.
They like crop it.
Yeah, they basically cut out just the parking lot. I'm like, that's the view I wanted. And she's like, yeah, online is honestly really deceiving. I'm like, okay. So she's like, well, like, let me see what I can do for you. She's like, oh my God, like down here you put down like your honeymoon. And then she got into like the whole spiel, which I think that they like do, because she's like, let me see the pictures. I can't wait to see the pictures.
Well,
I'm like,
we were talking to her and she's like, oh, you're here for your honeymoon. It says right on your booking. And we're like, yeah, we said that earlier. And she's like, oh, when did you get married? Blah, blah, blah. And then I was telling her, and she was asking a whole bunch of questions about the wedding. And then she was like, what was the color scheme? And I was like, well, I can show you like a picture if you want. And she was like, yeah, show me. And we were like, I wonder if she was trying to figure out if we were lying.
I was
or
like
not.
Secretly down. They're probably like, okay, we don't want you to ask for pictures, but we kind of want you to ask for pictures.
We want proof that it actually, because neither of us were wearing our rings because we don't travel with them on, right? No. So they probably was like, are you married?
Yeah. So we did. And then she was like, oh, let's get you into like a suite. And she's like, oh, and also I want to give you like free breakfast. I'm like, well, this is what I asked for in the first place. I didn't say that, but I was like thinking that.
She gave us like one free buffet breakfast thing.
So, because I knew that they do that at like most hotels, because they always have, especially like times like when we went, like not a lot of people are there, because like a lot of people are like on Monday and Tuesday it was like dead at the parks. It was not even busy at all. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, like when we got to the room, so we got upgraded, and we had to take our stuff from the main building
Which I had already unpacked and put in the drawers because I don't like leaving stuff in my suitcase. Yeah. It is so messy.
So we had to take it from like the main building to like this outskirt building, which we were like, I wonder if that's a hotel or not. And I'm like, I think it's part of this one.
It's like their suites.
But it was like a 5, maybe 10-minute walk away from like the main entrance. And so we had to take it from there, bring it to their suites, and then we get in there and I'm like, this room's amazing. It had like a living room in it. It had like 2 bathrooms. I'm like, this is so cool. And then we get in there and everything's great, and we're like, the view's kind of shitty. It was like of a dumpster. And I was like, whatever, who cares? We're not gonna be out there looking at things. So she said too, she's like, if you don't care about the view, I can upgrade your room. I'm like, sure. So then we get there and everything's good, and we start watching TV, and like we start watching a movie.
Oh, I was showering.
Yeah, you were showering. And then I started watching a movie while I'm sitting there, and all I hear is boom. I'm like, what the heck? At first I thought it was like somebody like outside, like vacuuming like the outside of the door. And then I found out that the air conditioner in the room was broken, and it was just making a bunch of rattling noise. I was like, oh my god.
Loud. Not even just like a humming noise, like so loud.
So I called the front desk and they're like, we'll send a person over there. Of course they get there, and then it makes no noise at all. And then he's like, oh, he turns it off and he turns it back on. It starts rattling. They're there for like a half an hour to an hour. And I'm like, do you know if you'll have it fixed? He's like, oh, we won't have it fixed. And I was like, okay. He's like, but just stay here anyways, and like hopefully tomorrow we can have it fixed. I'm like, no. So I call back again. They're like, sure, we're gonna switch you to another room. And then they had to move from another room to another suite, and that room was good. And then finally we got a room, and we settled down, and then we like rented. They had these.
I think we just went to bed that night.
No, we rented Pikachu.
Oh,
so,
oh my god.
So at this, okay, so in the end, I'll give you my overall thing about what I think about the hotel. Anyway, so they had these things called DVD Now, okay? And these cards that they make you think that they're like charging you to your room, but really they're just like these little cards.
Not charging it. I mean,
it says on there, it says that if you don't return it, you get charged your room. Oh. But they won't know, because like these cards are basically like, there's like a stack of them, so they're just handing them out like left and right, and we didn't know that at first. So first they give us a thing, and we go and we rent Detective Pikachu.
He hasn't explained that in every building there is 2 machines in the lobby of each hotel, like that's part of their property.
Yeah.
That has DVDs in it, so you can rent DVDs to watch while you're there for free.
Yeah. So you're basically going to these machines and you're putting the card in, and it's going, yeah, we have it available, or we don't, depending on like if people
they have only a certain number of copies.
Right, exactly. Right? So we're like, let's watch Detective Pikachu. So we get Detective Pikachu out there, we rent it, we watch Detective Pikachu. First of all, the movie was like okay, and then the very end was like, what is happening?
It was a dumbest movie. It was like started off fine, and then it just got progressively more stupid. Yeah. And the ending was the dumbest thing.
The ending of the movie, I don't want to spoil it, cover your ears if you don't want to listen, but the end of the movie, basically Mewtwo is like talking for some reason, and he's like, everyone thought that Mewtwo was trying to attack humans, but he was really trying to save humans, and then in the end he like revives the main character's dad, who is already dead for like a month and a half.
I didn't understand it. It was like he died, so he put his soul into Pikachu, but then he took it back out and put it back into the guy. But where was the dad's body for the last
it was just an ice
months?
Like, it was an ice, so it doesn't decompose.
It just I was like, why did I waste 2.5 hours of my life?
It was so crazy. So anyway, so then we wake up the next morning, and we went to Hollywood Studios, and we got ready and we went to Hollywood Studios, and we got lunch / breakfast / dinner technically, because it was like,
we didn't eat breakfast. I think
we didn't eat breakfast
before we left, and by the time we got there, I think it was like 9 or something, 9 or 10,
right,
sometime around there. And a lot of food places don't open that early in Disney, which we didn't know.
We're like, we want hot dogs. Oh, the hot dogs
we wanted like a breakfast or like a small breakfast.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the food places, it's like they were just opening, or like they hadn't opened yet. So we're walking around, and I was like, I've been here before. I went to Hollywood Studios back when it was called MGM Studios when I was like 12 years old. It was like, nearly 20 years ago.
I don't remember the last time I went to it, but yeah.
And I remember them having this restaurant where you go, and it's all like 50s style diner kind of thing, but you feel like you're inside. Like each table is kind of its own little cubby, and there's like a TV, and it looks like as if you're in like your mom's kitchen.
Yeah.
Like an old school style thing. And the waitresses will come, and they'll take your order, and they're like, okay, I'll go tell mom what you want. And they have rules like no elbows on the table. You have to eat all your vegetables. It's very like.
And you have to set the table yourself.
You have to set the table yourself. They like give you, and you have to set it yourself. Yeah. And it's very like it's fun.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no walkie talkies out, and because like you're not allowed to have your phones out, kind of thing. And I was like talking about it. I was like, we went to this place. I wonder where it is. Blah blah blah. And then I was like, I think that's it. And so we went, and we were like, oh, the prices aren't that bad.
No, yeah.
But we were looking at like.
We were looking at like the appetizers. I'm pretty sure. I was like, $10. But
we were so hungry.
Yeah.
And we were like one of the first people there when it opens. So we're like, let's just go. It'll be fun. You can say what you got for.
So we sit down and she's like, "Oh, blah blah blah." Like our things are now like on special. Are the I think we had the turkey, like the Christmas turkey. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Or like the Thanksgiving turkey. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I totally.
It was the couple days after American Thanksgiving.
So I was like, "Oh, I totally want to have that." And she's like, "Well, let me go check if it's on special." So then I was like, "Sure." So she goes back. She comes back. She's like, "We do have it on special." I'm like, "Sure, I'll get that." And then Rachel got her. It was called like a little bit of everything. It was like if you can't decide what you want. So it had like. A little bit of like pot roast, a little bit of fried chicken, a little bit of. It was supposed to have a little bit of meatloaf, but I just got more fried chicken because the meatloaf had dairy in it. So the service there was so damn good though. Oh my God. Holy crap!
But the food came out and we were like.
The food came out.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
The food came out and it was like somebody sat you down and was like. And it was like grandma going, you better eat all that because and then you're like, grandma, stop, that's too much food. That's pretty much what it was. And I
have a picture somewhere. I took a picture, and when I make I have like videos.
She's making a YouTube video.
You'll see just the sheer amount of food that
it was crazy, and like it was so good.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Like
that's the best fried chicken.
Yeah, that turkey was like delicious. It was like chunky turkey. Oh, it was so good. And so we ate all that. I tried to eat most of it. I had pretty much everything. And I had
sweet tea because I had sweet tea with everything that I ate.
And I had vanilla Coke.
I wish we had that.
The thing is, like the beauty about this place is that like they would just like nothing in Disney tasted bad the entire time. First of all, yeah. But like when we were there, we would be drinking a Coke. We'd get to like it'd be like half done. She'd bring us another one, like a little bit done. Bring us another one. And she's like, "Oh, do you want one to go? Here's another one to go." Yeah,
and like we were almost at that place. We were about to leave, and she had just brought me a fresh iced tea and you a fresh Coke, and she was like, "Oh, you guys are done." She's like, "Do you want these to go?" I was like. I've never heard that from a restaurant.
Yeah, I know.
They gave us to-go cups so we could walk around with our like refills.
They should do that at restaurants. I don't know why they. It
was nice.
Because otherwise they just throw it out anyways. Yeah. So.
And they had paper straws everywhere.
Yeah, which was nice. So Disney has this thing even at Disney Springs where paper straws only, like no single-use plastics. Even at Starbucks, they've actually removed.
At the Starbucks in Disney.
They've actually removed. Oh. Yeah. They've actually removed. You
have to hold this.
Yeah, I will. Starbucks.
Warm.
They've actually removed Starbucks, those toppers, you know, like when you're drinking a coffee.
Plug the hole.
They plug the hole so you don't spill them. So those are completely removed. And people were actually complaining. They're like, where are those? Anyways, that has nothing to do with the story. So so everything was great. And then we got the bill. And I was like
$70.
And it was like $70. I was like, what the hell did we order? I was like in awe. And then you still have to tip too, right? Because whatever. And I'm like, what the come on.
It ended up being like, it ended up being like, $27 each plate or something.
Each
and
plate.
Then like your drink.
Yeah.
And then tip.
I mean, ideally, like, don't go there for breakfast because we didn't know what we were doing. But go there for like dinner and you're fine.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I don't.
I don't regret it at all.
It was no regrets. Yeah. It was delicious.
It was so damn good.
But oh my God.
And like I said, the service is so good there that you can't really argue that much with it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we ate there, and then we walked around the park.
Then we went to Indiana Jones.
We went to Indiana Jones, watched the thing.
Which is so cool.
The one thing to talk about a little bit about Disney that was kind of like different than Universal is they do this thing where they have fast passes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, fast passes in Universal is you have it on your wrist and you just walk through and do whatever you want. Now, fast pass in Disney is you schedule it online.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you're
like
only allowed a certain amount
three per day, or per park, I should say. So what happens is you have to be like, okay, I'm planning to go to Indiana Jones at 1 o'clock. And the reason why they do that is because like families have schedules, right? So you can't just be like, well, I'm going to probably be there for 1. Well, what if you're like, what if you like are doing something at 1 o'clock or like you have to feed your child at like 1 or something like that? You know what I mean? So it does make sense because like guaranteed it's not going to be overbooked. But like for us, we were like super confused on how to do it.
So we didn't know you had to like. the fast pass came with our hotel money.
Yeah.
Like we thankfully didn't pay for it.
No.
But
we never used it though.
Yeah, because when we got to the park, we're like, okay, let's like look at what we want to do, and it was like everything
completely booked. Yeah.
And we're like, so fast pass for us.
We go to the Indiana Jones thing, which is basically like a cinematic, like they reenact like different things and
it's like kind of shows you like a behind the scenes how they make action scenes.
Yeah,
and
it's probably just like a mock-up, but like it was still really, really cool.
They grab people from the audience.
Yeah, and like I remember when they sat us down, they're like, go over here, and like the fast pass like gets put right in the middle of the center show, and I'm like, we're just a bunch of plebs over here, like we're like, hey, we're here to watch the show, and they're like, get over there.
But you still, it's every seat is fine.
Their seat was great though. But yeah, so it was really cool.
I have footage of the show.
Yeah, we have a lot of footage of it. And so that was cool. Then we left there and we walked around, and that's when we wanted to go see like the Disney side of things, which was really, really cool.
What do you mean the Disney side of things?
The Disney the Star Wars. Why did I say Disney?
I don't know.
Yeah, the Star Wars.
I was like, we're in Disney.
My brain is thinking Disney. Every time I think about Star Wars, I think Disney Plus. Yeah. So whenever I say Disney, I'm like, I actually talk about Star Wars. But anyways, yeah. So we went to go see Star Wars. Galaxy's Edge. And that was really cool. Like when you walk in, it's basically like it separates you from the park almost. It feels like you're walking into, because you have like you're basically walking under like, you know, rocks kind of thing, and then you end up in like Star Wars area, and it's really, really cool. They have like the Millennium Falcon, they have like a bunch of like fighter ships and stuff like that. The beauty about it is like all the shops and stuff, or like all the you can actually go to a bar that's like exactly like how it is in Star Wars. And
there's like you had to make reservations, I think, and there was a huge lineup, but they let us just walk in and like look around.
Yeah, and then walk right out. Yeah,
it's very cool.
We didn't like actually, like, me and Rachel are not really into 4D rides too much, which kind of sucks because like we talked about after, like, we've been going to Disney Universal, but we don't like 4D rides. But the thing is, like, with Universal, we were saying, like, we wish that there was more rides and less 4D rides. But I know that the reason why they're doing a lot more 4D is because they can fit a lot more of them in smaller areas.
It just sucks.
And yeah. Like, the thing I like about Universal more is that they have a lot more rides. So it's a lot more like you're moving, you're doing certain things, and that's why I like that a lot more. But, like, all in all, like, yeah. Like,
I think everything inside Star Wars
is
just 4D, or it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we didn't ride anything, but it was cool.
It was still amazing. Like,
they had the stormtroopers walking around. And
the cool thing about the stormtroopers there is when you go up to them and you try to take pictures, they like don't want to stop and take pictures.
No, they won't take pictures with you. They're like, "Move, citizen."
Yeah.
And, like, they kind of not push you right out of the way, but they just like kind of walk past.
There was a little kid dressed as one of the villains from Star Wars. I forget his name. Kylo Ren. And he was like, "Oh, I want you to take a picture with me." And they're like, "As you wish, sir."
Yeah.
And like they all like lined up, and like they all like he basically commanded them and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah.
People were freaking out about that. And that was really cool.
I feel like they'll do it because he was little.
Yeah.
They'll do it for little kids, especially if you're dressed up. But if it's just like me and Trav, like, let's take a picture.
They're like, get it. Yeah. So that was really cool. Like, really great job.
Because they would be. Can you imagine if they did they would be.
Swarmed. Oh no, that's the thing.
They would spend all day just standing there taking pictures.
Yeah. And then we walked around to Toy Story World, which.
That was packed.
It was packed. Yeah. The one thing I wish that they had a Toy Story World was either what's that store that they had, the barn, remember that? Al's Toy Barn. I don't know why they didn't have that. And they also did not have the race car. I thought they would have like the race car.
Race car.
Like, do you know the toy race car in Toy Story? How they had like, I thought they would have like some sort of go-karts or something like that. And I
don't know what toy race car you're talking about.
The one that Woody always controls.
Oh, the RC car?
RC car, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was also thinking that they're really missing out on, like, the Pizza Planet.
They had Pizza Planet.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But not the arcade, though.
No, but they had a food place called Pizza Planet where you could eat lunch.
But I wanted to, like, have, like, a giant crane that you can like, get the little, like, squeaky...
He wanted an arcade.
Yes, I want an arcade, yeah. I love arcades.
No arcades.
But anyways, it was really cool. And then we walked around.
You were going to ride the Slinky.
Yeah.
There's, like, a Slinky roller coaster, but it's, like, a kid's roller coaster. But we walked up and the wait time for it was like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. Yeah,
and
a lot of the wait time.
Of course, our fast pass doesn't do nothing for us.
Because the Sunday that we went, it was like really packed.
Yeah.
And like, but then obviously you got around to like Monday and Tuesday, and it was like a lot less. So It might have been better if we were on like a Monday or Tuesday, but it's okay. And then we did like
we watched the Cars
thing, which was pretty cool. What else did we do? I'm trying to think of Hollywood Studios. There were so many different things.
We walked around. It was really big. We walked around a lot. We
went there in the morning and the night though. Remember that?
Yeah, but we watched like a Frozen preview thing. We walked through. There's lots of like things you can walk through and look at stuff. Did we eat lunch there?
I forget if we did. I think we went back and ate lunch. We went back and got Uber Eats, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So we ended up going back. I'm sorry, am I disturbing you?
Saber's like trying to sleep right now.
We went back to the hotel because it was the second warm day, and we went swimming for a bit.
Yeah.
And then we ordered Jersey Mike's.
Oh yeah, man, Jersey Mike's subs are so good.
Yes.
At first I was like, it was Firehouse subs, and then Rachel's like, no, it's not.
I checked our Uber Eats history
from last year, and Jersey Mike's is so good. It's like packed full, and then they have this amazing red relish. Oh god, I wish I had some at home. I would eat it all the time.
It was good. So we got that, and then we were kind of just like,
yeah, and then we're just like, well,
on the couch for a little while. We watched a little bit of Jurassic Park, of course, because it wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't talk about Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs.
And then so my favorite thing about MGM, and it hasn't changed since, they've added a few things, but it's still the same, is every night they do like this big light show.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And I had asked one of the employees, I was like, what time does the light show start at and where is it? And he's like, it starts at like 9?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, 9:30.
He's like, it starts at 9:30, but be there by 8:15.
Yeah.
And because you're gonna need that much time to like get a good seat because it gets really, really packed. It's in this big outdoor like amphitheater, like on the water, and it's like, you know, like 1,000 people can sit there. It's huge.
Yeah. And
so we were like, okay, we're gonna go. We ate dinner, and then like we got changed because it was like nighttime, and we walked back, and we were like, we kind of did like a once around the park. We kind of like lapped around it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get some Starbucks. So we got a drink. And then we're like, let's go get our seats. And it was over near like the Tower of Terror. And we're like, there's a lot of people like running that in that direction. I'm like, oh, people are trying to get seats already. I'm like, let's go. So we start like kind of like walking faster. And you have to walk up this like path. It's like its own separate area. And we like we're like, there's a lot of strollers. We're like, oh my God, look at all the strollers parked there. It was like 8:20 probably, right?
There's like hundreds of strollers.
We're like, what is happening? And we round the corner and the whole place is just like packed, like it is full. There was no seats left. We were standing at the very back, just to be able to see, and then the show starts. And so the guy told me it starts at 9:30 and it started at 8:30.
Yeah. And so we're just there, we're like,
we got there and it started. We're like, okay, like I mean, we're lucky we made it like to see it, because otherwise we only had the one day at that park, so we wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
No, we wouldn't have.
But it was still really cool.
Yeah. So we got to see it. Was like really, really cool.
And at least we were the first ones out, right? Because imagine if you have to wait like
I know,
for everyone to leave.
I think we have video of it. I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah.
It's kind of crappy video, but might be.
It's cool though. It's like Mickey is. Have you ever seen Fantasia? It's like the magician Mickey. Yeah. So he's at the there's like a kind of like a whole circle of water, and then there's like an island in the middle. He stands there. He's doing magic, and he's like fighting a dragon, and
there's
they project things on the water.
There's a bunch of different like scenes from like different movies and stuff, which is really, really cool.
And then there's like boats that come around and they like sing songs.
By far my favorite for sure. And then
it was fun, and they do fireworks.
Yeah, and then so. And then we also went to I wanted to go back to Disney. I want to go back to Star Wars Galaxy Edge because it was nighttime, so it was like a lot nicer, and like there was like you can see all the cool like lights and everything. It was really, really well done.
Oh yeah, and all the parks were dressed up really nice for Christmas. Yeah, so like at nighttime it's pretty because they have all the lights.
A gigantic, massive Christmas trees. Oh yeah.
They play Christmas music.
Yeah. So then we left there and we went back.
And we just went to bed.
Yeah.
Or we watched a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what we watched.
And is that when the DVD Now thing started or no?
Yeah.
Is it?
Probably.
So I think we wanted to rent. No, I think we properly rented. That wasn't King Kong. It was Jurassic Park. So we returned. We returned Pikachu, and I rented Jurassic Park, and we watched that, and it was not bad. I mean, it was kind of the ending was a little bit but then
we went to bed.
We went to bed, so that was good. So the next day we wake up, and that was one of our days at Disney Plus. That was one of those.
No, we went to Epcot.
The next day.
We did 2 days in a row.
Oh,
That's
you're
why
right.
we were so sore.
That's right. You're right.
So we had to take, with our hotel came free shuttles so that you can go to and from the parks without having to pay or anything. It's too far to walk, which was really nice. But so it'll be like they do 2 parks together for each shuttle. It's not like the shuttle just goes from your hotel to the park back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like they'll do Epcot and Animal Kingdom together, or whatever it is, and then MGM and the other one together.
Yeah.
So when we wanted to go to Epcot, it would take us right there. But then on the way home, it would go to a different park first, and then like 3 other hotels first, and then our hotel. So it would have been like an hour long.
Yeah.
So it was like,
So we went directly to Epcot.
Yeah.
And then when we got there, we walked around. And Epcot's really, really cool because like it's probably one of my favorite parks at Disney.
It's the only park I hadn't ever been to.
Yeah. And like it's really amazing. Like we actually didn't get to see everything that was there, but we walked around and like it starts you on like a giant circle, and because you're basically going from like city or from country to country, and like it's really, really cool because they start you on like was it Germany or
I don't
Norway?
remember where you start.
I think it was Norway.
Something like that. It doesn't matter.
And they have these little kiosks that sell
kiosks.
Yeah, are they little kiosks?
They're little restaurants. They're little like.
They're kiosks.
A kiosk is like where they sell like phone cases.
No, it's a kiosk. Anyways, it's like a little kiosk restaurant, and you have like these appetizers to choose from, and they're like $5 usually, and you get like one at each country, and they're so good. Like the first thing we got was like I think spring rolls.
We got egg rolls in China.
Yeah.
And then we got you got something in the one that was like the it wasn't Norway.
I took pictures of each of them. I should have.
You got something that was like it was oh my gosh, my brain. It was pork schnitzel or something.
Oh no, it was dumplings, the mushroom dumplings.
So I don't know what country that was.
Yeah, there was. So at first we went to Norway, and like we were like, what's that ride over there? And Rachel thought it was like a scary ride, but it turned out to be the Frozen ride, so we never went on it because like the first time it was like I think 15-minute wait, and we're like, oh, I think it's for like a Norway.
No, that's not why we didn't go on it.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was anxious. That's right. Yeah, so I was actually anxious when I first got to the park for some reason, and
so we didn't go on any. We were just walking around.
We just walked around. Yeah. So then we went and we ate there, and then we went through China because it was like it had like all the cool shops, and like each place you went to had like the shops plus like different cool like little things that they had, like little displays, and that was cool.
In China there was like people doing like drums demonstrations and
they had the China. No, that was
Japan.
Japan, yeah. So in China their thing was actually shut down, but they had China's Disney World, I think it was.
That's Disneyland, Tokyo. That was Japan, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Anyways,
or maybe Shanghai.
No,
you might be right.
I think no, it was Shanghai, but yeah. So they had how it was in China and like how it looks for Disney World there, and it's a really, really cool like how you can see like the difference because like
it looks sweet.
Yeah, and Disney World China, they have like futuristic Disney, so like Toy Story's like upped the ante like to futuristic style. It's really cool. And like that was really cool to see all that, like how it would be there and stuff. And then from there you moved over to like I think it was like Germany and stuff, and we had dumplings with like mushroom sauce, and that was freaking good. I know that
wasn't in Germany, but I don't remember what country.
I don't know.
It might have been Greece or like something.
It was something
like that.
Yeah. And then
we were in a Mediterranean country where we had those chicken drumsticks.
Yeah,
those had like I don't even know, but it was like with applesauce and
it was really good. Yeah,
really good stuff on it.
And then we walked through a bunch of other countries like Italy and stuff.
Then we went to somewhere where we had that sandwich that had the mustard and everything on it that you ate all the meat out of.
Yes, yeah, that was it was like a Reuben and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was like Greece, maybe. I don't know. It was Greece or
it's so hard to keep track.
Israel. I forget what it was.
Something. It was good.
Yeah.
And then. Did we eat anything else?
And then we went over and they had like a bunch of like Pokemon stuff from like Japan and all this stuff. I think it was Japan. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, it was somewhere along there. And then we went to like Canada, and Canada was like super tiny. There was like nothing there. It was like to be
They had a steakhouse in Canada.
They had a steak like an actual steakhouse restaurant.
One thing I wanted was when you walked through like the England section, it smelled so good. They had like fish and chips.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a
snack.
Like snack size. It was like a full plate, and I was like, oh, I just can't.
And then we went to France. and I got my creme brulee. And creme brulee is so good. If you guys have ever had it, it's so good. And it was so good there. Oh my god. Creme brulee. Just thinking about it right now makes me want to have some.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's so good. And so we had that. So basically, Epcot was just like a bunch of food, but it's like really worth it though. And then when we got to the end, we went on a few rides. Like we went like in Mexico, we went on like a little gondola ride, like which is pretty cool.
It was like the Three Amigos, which is the three birds, Donald Duck, and then I don't know the other ones.
One of my favorite thing that they had there was you go on like a ride through just like herbology kind of thing. Did I say that right?
A greenhouse?
Yeah.
Herbology.
What's that?
That's like the study of plants.
Yeah, sounds
but like
right.
It's just a weird way to say that we went on a boat ride through a greenhouse.
Anyways, we went through a boat ride through a greenhouse. It was herbology. And they had, that's what I was thinking. And they had like how the plants, and then they also had like a fish like area where like they had like a bunch of fish not ponds, but like for food and stuff. And they're like, okay,
like fish farming.
Fish farming, like in the fish farming like feeds the plants and all this stuff. And it was really cool because like you got to see all that cool stuff. And
it basically was showing how it's talking about like sustainability and like green energy and all that stuff, and talking about how a lot of the food that is served on Disney property they grow right there instead of like like outsourcing.
It makes sense.
So it was interesting.
It was really cool to see that. And then we went on like a few other things.
That was a long day. Like we're describing it as if we were like zoom.
Yeah.
But like I think we were there for like nearly 8 hours.
We were there for about 8 hours. Because I remember on the way back, we're like, do we actually want to wait for a bus? I'm like, no, we're gonna get an Uber. Yeah. And like the Uber was like a few minutes. It took
us I think 5 minutes to get back, whereas the bus would have taken us an hour.
Yeah. So if you ever go to Disney and you have like these shuttles, if you're staying on one that shares the shuttle, then it's not going directly there. If you have like if you're staying on like an actual Disney place, it goes directly there, or you have the gondolas that take you there, or the boat ride. So in the future, I would probably actually just make sure that I'm staying on like an actual Disney like official one. The issue
is that they're so expensive.
They're so pricey.
It's way too expensive.
Yeah, like, and I mean, honestly, like for me, I think Disney's good. Like when we have kids and stuff, Disney's gonna be the place to go. But from now, like I think Universal would be the place for me.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna go back to a theme park for a long time. It's been two theme park trips in a row,
back to back. Yeah, we'll have to think about other places.
Next trip will be like a Rachel chooses the destination trip.
Well, this was Travis and Rachel chooses it. So yeah, there wasn't any dinosaurs though.
Yeah. There was the Lego dinosaur.
Yeah, the Lego dinosaur.
In Jurassic Park.
So then after that we went back and we once again I think got chicken guys. Yep, we went back and we got chicken guys again. And that was amazing.
And then we got bath bombs.
Bath bombs, yeah. We went to like this cool bath bombs place called
Push Me.
I forgot what it was called. The Saber pushing you.
Yes.
Saber's like, wake up, talk about me now. And so we got chicken guys again, which was amazing. And we went back to the room and our legs were like dead. Like dead. My legs felt like they were gonna fall off.
You couldn't like every step. You should have seen. I should have taken video of us trying to walk around the hotel room because we were limping like little old people.
Yeah, and so we get back, and this is when the craziness started about the DVD Now thing.
So we got back fairly early because we had been there. I think we left the park at like 3:30 or something. Yeah. We ate food, so by the time I got back to our hotel room, it was probably like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
It was early.
So the DVD Now Plus, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna return this, and I want to get Ready Player One. Okay.
The game.
Or was that? Or did we watch the Goosebumps or like the one with Jack Black that night?
That's probably what we did.
Never mind. So scratch that for now. So we just watched. First we watched Detective Pikachu. Then we watched Jurassic Park. The last one that just came out.
Then we watched The House with the Clock in Its Walls.
The House with the Clock in Its Walls.
Which was.
It wasn't okay. Out of the three, which one was your favorite movie?
Out of those three?
Yeah.
House with the Clock in Its Walls.
I probably agree. It's probably.
It was a kids movie.
It's a kid. Yeah, like the last Jurassic is going to be interesting. How they're going to continue the next one. I hope they do. I hope they get rid of like all of this futuristic dino stuff and go back to the original style because it's too crazy at this point. And like, but then you have like Detective Pikachu, which was good at first. I liked the whole idea. It was funny. Ryan Reynolds is like interesting, but then like the whole story kind of fell off near the end. But yeah, so then the next day we're like, well, we don't want to do anything.
We tried. We tried.
We did.
We got up. We ate our buffet breakfast because we were like, we don't have any plans today. let's just have this. It was really good. Travis
Yeah.
wasn't that hungry, but you
No.
had like some good oatmeal and stuff.
Yeah, that oatmeal was amazing.
And then we were like, like we had got up that morning and literally we're just hobbling.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we have to do something. Let's go to Disney Springs. I was like, I'll get a chai latte from Starbucks. So we walked to Disney Springs
for like 5 minutes
in like complete silence. We're just like,
so
and then
we walk to Disney Springs, we get the chai latte, and then we leave. And then
because we get there and we like kind of like looked at each other, and I was like,
we're not, this is not happening.
Cannot do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, me neither.
Yeah,
so we just left.
We go back and we go to the front desk and we're like, we're gonna rent like a bunch of movies. Like, is it okay if we have like more than one of these tickets? Because they only let you rent one per night. And so,
which we didn't know.
So I was like, okay. So she's like, yeah, whatever. Here, have them. And like, so
I think she was 3.
At that point, I knew like, there's no way that these like coincide with your room because they're not asking you your room number when you go up there. They're just, you know. So I'm like, okay. So not that I was not going to return them, but anyways. So then I'm like, okay, I want to let's start it with Ready Player One. So we start. I'm like, I heard really good things about this, and like blah blah blah. So we started watching Ready Player One. The movie.
Like
first of all, when I grabbed the DVD, I'm like, this thing is broken. Like the DVD it was cracked in half. I'm like, this thing's not gonna load. Sure enough, it does load. We start watching it and we're really into it. It's like an hour into the movie and the movie freezes. Yeah. And I'm like, no. And Rachel just starts laughing.
Because like so many little things had gone wrong. Like nothing major, nothing to like ruin the trip, but it was just like a series of like ridiculous, like unfortunate things that had happened. So I was just like, yeah, of course the movie doesn't.
So Rachel just starts laughing. I'm like, well, now we have to go back and like return it. So what we do is go down there and I return the movie and I'm like, I'm gonna get a different copy of it. So I return it.
Keep in mind that every time we get up and move, it's like pain.
Yeah. So we have to get.
Like, oh,
we have to get up and we have to go down to the floor one, and we go down, and so you have to take our floor. It's on the 4th floor, and we go down to the first floor. To the right is where the DVD Now thing is. So we go there, we put the thing in. It says, please insert your DVD. So we're like, boom, put it in. Then I'm like, okay, I want to rent it again. So I go to rent it again, and it's like, your card is currently full. Yeah. I'm like, I just returned it. What are you talking about? Yeah. This makes no sense.
So then we have to walk to the front desk, which is 10-minute walk away.
So at that point, I was like, well, we have our 3 extra ones. So I'm like, Rachel, go in, do something. Like, I forget what she was doing. And she gave me the 3 cards. And the objective was to get, what happened was, originally what happened was we rented Ready Player One. We rented, we rented Ready Player One, King Kong,
and the Rocket Man.
And the Rocket Man.
Which
okay.
I wanted to watch.
This is what happened. Yeah, that's right. So we had those 3 DVDs. So we did actually have 3 DVDs on us.
Because we had 3 cards.
Yes. So I go back and I'm like, I'm gonna return.
He didn't want to watch Rocket Man. No. So behind my back, he went and he returned it.
So I said, Rachel, you stay here. I'm gonna go do it. So I go downstairs and I have these 3 cards and I have each DVD. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna return Ready Player One because I want to get another copy of it. So I return it. Then it says you've already rented it full. I'm like, come on, this is the second time this has happened because it already happened the night before, but I didn't mention it. So I'm like, this card's messed up too. So I'm like, fine, I'm gonna return Rocket Man. So I return Rocket Man and I put the card and it says you've already rented your full max for today. I'm like, oh my god. So now all I have is King Kong left. And I'm like, this is nonsense. I'm like, fine, I'm not going to put King Kong in here because I know it's not going to work. So we walk all the way back to the front desk, which is like in a whole other area. And we go and they give us 1. They're like, you can have 1. So we get 1. We go back to the thing.
He tries to rent
and I'm like, I'm going to rent Ready Player One. So I rent Ready Player One. And it kicks out this stupid DVD that haunts my mind called like Last Breath or something.
Don't Breathe. Something like that. It's like a scary movie.
So it kicks out Don't Breathe. I'm like, what is this? So I go to return it, and it says your card is full. I'm like, oh my god.
We did this like 4 times before finally someone explained to us that it's not, once you return something on that card, it doesn't let you take one out again because it's, the way the code works is you can only do 1 per 24 hours on that card.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you return it.
So this entire time I thought it was like if you return it on the card, you're good to rent another one. No. But no, it's literally a time clock on the card. I'm like, this entire time, why did nobody tell us? After trips and trips and trips.
And then like depending on who you would get at the front desk, they would either say like, yeah, sure, here's one, or they would be like, no, you're not allowed anymore.
So then at that point, I'm like, I'm going to download Ready Player One on my phone. on my tablet. So I downloaded on my tablet. We watched it on there. Then we watched King Kong, which is actually pretty good. And like, you know, and then
Ready Player One was good.
Ready Player One was
King
super
Kong
good.
Was like,
King Kong was something, yeah.
Enjoy it.
And then we went to bed, and then the next day, that's when we came home. Yeah. And so that was the gist of it. But the overall, like the hotel, I think, you know, I think it was okay. I don't think I would ever stay there again, just because it was like it wasn't as like well put together as some of the other hotels. Also, I don't like how there's like their upgrade hotel rooms are like in a whole other area. I thought that was really crappy.
Yeah, and there's like no food.
No.
Like the main section had like the cafe area.
I think if like I paid to like be in a suite or something and I got over and they were like, yeah, you're over there, I'd be like, what do you mean? I have to walk all the way over there? Yeah. You know what I mean? So so I don't think I would stay at that hotel, but overall like Epcot was by far my favorite for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think like it's also kind of,
if I was going to go back, I wouldn't really want to go back to any of the other parks, but I would go back to Epcot. Like Epcot I would go back during their food and wine festival for sure.
Yeah, I heard that's like really good.
Because I heard that's supposed to be really good. Yeah. But I wouldn't. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really do rides, so it's kind of a waste of...
What's your thought on, like, Christmas in Florida?
I can see that you're reading off topics on the page, and I'm not going to play along.
What? That's it?
That was a long enough description of our trip.
Okay, fine. Anyways, overall, I think that... I think Universal, my opinion, is my choice, but Epcot is by far my favorite out of all of them, for sure. Mainly because we like food, I think. And
here we have the baby.
And here we have
the baby Jesus.
The Saber segment. So Trav, what do you think about Disney? Like, tell me your thoughts on it. I don't care though, because I didn't actually go, so don't tell me anything. Okay, Saber. But and so this is episode 6, and we're gonna do episode 7 right now. So stay tuned. So this one's gonna be uploaded first, and then we're gonna have episode 7 uploaded 2 days after. But if you guys want to watch the video, it's on Patreon. If you guys want to check it out, feel free. And we will see you guys in 2 minutes with the next episode.